My name is Tomi Goji, co-founder, managing director of the University of Tokyo Edge Capital. As Sanjay introduced, we are partner VC from Japan. Let me introduce a couple of things about what we have done in Japan and what we are doing in India, especially together with Bloom Ventures. And lastly, I'd like to introduce our joint program called BUDHA, BUDHA, which stands for Bloom UTEC Deep Tech Accelerator Program. Yeah. First off, let me introduce what is UTEC. We are a Tokyo-based venture capital firm that pioneers frontiers to solve global issues of humankind by bringing capital, talent, and knowledge around science and technology. I think the role of startups using deep tech to solve global issues is very important, getting more and more important, especially in the recent world where countries are kind of divided due to lots of conflicts and confrontations, right? We started off back in 2004. Since then, we raised 4 funds totaling about $500 billion, investing in almost 100 entities so far. Prior to UTEC, I was a government official in the Japanese government, actually, where I drafted a venture capital law, a legal framework for venture funds, which became a basis for Japanese venture capital funds after its enactment in 1998, when I was almost 25 years old. Yeah. But around 2004, I quit the government. Not because I hated what I did in government, but because I wanted to implement the ethos of the law in one of the private sectors that I believed was the most difficult, but at the same time, the most rewarding, investing in deep tech startups to create an ecosystem in Japan that could parallel the established industries in Japan. And since then, we had difficulties in raising funds, but eventually we were successful in raising the first fund with about $80 million from Japanese institutional investors, 20 institutional investors. And it took almost 9 years until we recouped the fund. But we had several good examples, successful examples in the deep tech space. So let me introduce some of them. One of them is in the life science space, which is called Peptide Dream. It's listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, valued at around $6 billion right now. We started helping them right prior to the incorporation of the company, when the scientific founder invented the technology, peptide-based drug discovery and development platform technology that could allow pharmaceutical companies to create new drugs based on peptides. Peptides are part of it's kind of amino acids, a conglomerate of amino acids. And they have partnered with over 20 global pharmaceutical companies. And another example could be a drone startup, which went public last December, actually, in Tokyo Stock Exchange. That company came out of Chiba University. We complemented the company with good technologies from other Japanese universities, like the University of Tokyo, and we also helped them build strong management team. And they are currently getting global as well. And recently, let me give you some observation about startups valuation in that space. These days, more than half of the more than half of the startups in the Tokyo Stock Exchange above $10 billion, $1 billion market cap is deep tech related out of research institutes, actually. And the number is growing. So these days, the venture capital firms like us is kind of prevalent in Japan. So the recognition of this kind of venture investing is getting higher and higher in Japan. And I think this trend is applicable to other states, including India as well. Traditionally, venture capital industry was not in deep tech or science area. Most venture capital funds were seeking opportunities in consumer-based industries, right? But what's happening in Japan is kind of different. So I think India can take advantage of this kind of direction as well at the same time. Okay, let me talk about our activities in India. Actually, we have started our activities in India almost 1.5 years ago when we came to know Bloom Ventures. I met both of them in Hong Kong at an event called Super Return. When we also came to know a company named Tricog Health. Some of you may know the company. That company is in the healthcare space. They are providing AI cardiologist service, and they are expanding their service. The accumulative number of patients diagnosed with their technology is currently 1.3 million people. 1.7? Oh, it increased. Okay, but back then, the number was 300,000, I think. So we had an opportunity to co-invest in the company together with Bloom. That was the first relationship we had with Bloom. But that relationship developed into more further attempt, which is called BUDHA. Yeah. BUDHA is a program that tries to help Indian startups using deep techs to solve global issues emanating from India into the rest of the world. So as a partner of Bloom in that program, we'd like to help those startups in various aspects, including financing, of course, and including scientific knowledge, because we have strong relationships with Japanese institutes. So let me give you one example. We have invested in a company named Bugworks Research. Bugworks Research is not a portfolio company of Bloom, but it's a portfolio company of 314 Capital, Bangalore-based VC. We invested in the company together with 314, and we introduced a Japanese researcher who is a microbiologist who figured out the mechanism of bacteria to pump out antibiotic out of bodies. He wrote a paper in Nature back in 2002, so he's an authority in the space. So we introduced and combined his lab together with the company to develop the new drug, which is totally innovative against bacteria, which is resistant against antibiotics. That kind of collaboration might be unique. So we are more than happy to do that. And also we are connected with Japanese companies, of course. So we are more than happy to connect them with the startups in the program. When it comes to Tricog, we introduced a Japanese ECG machine manufacturer, who is very strong in Southeast Asia. So by into their distribution network in Southeast Asia, Tricog can expand their operation into the area as well. So that kind of things are what we would like to do in the BUDHA program. Yeah. So finally, let me close my talk by giving the closing remark. Yeah, I'm so much excited and looking forward to the more and more creation of Indian startups in the deep tech space to solve the global issues. Yeah, thank you very much.